Dear friends, we share the most exciting stories. Subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for amazing adventures. Under the rain, Alex lived on the outskirts of a small village where even the wind seemed old and tired. He was 50, and his whole life had passed in the rhythm of fields, rain, and silence. He woke before dawn, fed the cows, fixed the fence, sat by the window with a cup of tea, and silently watched the sun rise over his lonely house. People in the village respected Alex, quiet, kind, hard-working, but there were always a few who laughed behind his back. Hey, our farmer's still alone. No wife, no kids, probably a virgin. Alex never got angry. He simply didn't know how to live any other way. Women scared him, not their looks, but their eyes, their lightness, their way of speaking that made his mouth go dry. He was a simple man. Once, when he was young, he tried to confess his feelings to a girl named Marina, but she laughed. "Alex, you're better off baling hay than reciting poetry." After that, he closed himself off, and so the years went by. House, field, market, house. Winter with books, summer with wheat, and maybe it would have stayed that way forever, if not for that one rainy evening when fate decided it was time. The rain began suddenly, almost with a whistle. The heavy gray sky burst open with torrents of water. Thunder rolled over Alex's old house. He stood at the window and saw a figure running down the road, a woman in a long coat, carrying a suitcase. She stumbled, barely seeing the way. Without thinking, Alex opened the door, stepped into the rain, and shouted, "Hey, over here!" The woman lifted her head, her eyes flashed in the lightning, and she ran toward him. He pulled her inside, and suddenly the air was filled with the scent of rain and something warm, something homey, long forgotten. "Sorry," she said, breathless. "I got lost. The bus broke down. I started walking, and then the rain." Of course, Alex stammered. "Sit down." "I'll get a towel." He rushed about, finding an old towel and a blanket. The woman sat by the stove, taking off her wet shoes. In the firelight, her face looked soft and tired. She was about 40, maybe a little more, but her eyes were warm and alive. "My name is Anna," she said as he poured tea. "I'm a widow. Going to my sister's village, planning to stay there for a while." "Alex," he said simply, "I live here alone." "I can see that," she smiled. "It's quiet here." "Yes," he whispered. They didn't talk much, but in that silence there was something strangely alive. He listened to her like to a forgotten song. She spoke about losing her husband, trying to start over, and failing again and again. He nodded, understanding every word. When the rain didn't stop, he awkwardly said, "You can stay for the night." "You shouldn't go out in this weather." "There's a spare room." Anna looked at him and nodded softly. "Thank you, Alex." "You're a kind man." That night was long. He lay awake, listening to the quiet breathing of someone alive behind the wall. For the first time in years, he felt peace instead of loneliness. In the morning, sunlight broke through the clouds. Anna was making breakfast. It looked so natural, as if she'd always lived there. "Where's the salt?" she asked. "In the cupboard," he said, swallowing a lump in his throat. After breakfast, she said she had to go. He nodded silently, but his eyes gave him away. He didn't want her to leave. "Maybe I can drive you to the station?" he asked shyly. "Thank you," she smiled, "but I'd rather walk a little." She left, and with her went the sunlight. The next few days were empty. Everything seemed normal again, but in the silence of the house there was a faint echo of her laughter A week later, when Alex had already accepted that he'd never see her again, he heard a knock at the door. It was Anna, standing on the porch with her suitcase. "I didn't make it to my sister's," she said quietly. "I realized I had no reason to go. If you don't mind, I'd like to stay." He didn't answer, just took her suitcase and set it in the corner. That's how their new life began. Slowly, like spring after a long winter, Anna cleaned the house, baked bread, and taught him how to laugh again. At first he was shy, unsure how to act. She felt it and never rushed him. One day, while fixing the fence together, she said, "You've never been married, have you?" He blushed. "No. Why not?" "Guess no one ever needed me." She looked at him with such warmth that he had to look away. "Nonsense," she said softly. "You were just waiting for the right one." Day by day, they needed fewer words and understood each other more. One night, when thunder rumbled again, Anna knocked on his door. "Are you awake?" "Yes." "I'm scared of the thunder. Can I stay with you for a bit?" He nodded. She sat beside him in an old robe, her hair loose. Lightning flashed, windows trembled, and suddenly her hand touched his. "You're shaking," she whispered. "I'm not used to this," he said. "To warmth?" She looked into his eyes. Then she kissed him, gently, simply, as if she knew that was the only way he'd understand. That night, Alex felt alive for the first time. He didn't know what to do, but she laughed softly and guided him, as if returning his life to him. When dawn came, he lay staring at the ceiling, unable to believe it was real. From that day, they were inseparable. She helped him on the farm, sold milk at the market, laughed with the neighbors. The village whispered, "The farmer's not alone anymore." Alex just smiled. Time passed. One day Anna said, "I thought my life ended when my husband died. But then I met you and realized it was just beginning." He took her hand, "And I thought I'd never be needed again. Now I'm afraid to wake up that winter they married. Quietly, without guests, just signed the papers and went home. Snow fell gently, as if blessing them. A year later, they had a child. The doctor in town couldn't believe it. 'Alex, you're 51. Are you serious? But miracles happen where love lives.' He held the little girl in his arms and cried, unashamed. 'Let's name her Hope,' Anna said, 'because she's ours.' He nodded, unable to speak. The village was amazed. People came to see the baby, to see the old father, and stopped laughing. Now, when they passed by, they spoke with respect. 'Life, huh?' The farmer found his happiness. Years went by. Hope grew. Alex grew gray, but his eyes stayed bright. He often remembered that first night. The rain, the fear, and the woman who brought light into his house. Once, many years later, he sat on the porch with his daughter. "Dad," she asked, "how did you meet Mom?" He smiled under the rain. "She came to my door and asked for shelter." "And you let her in?" "Yes, and since then, rain has been the kindest miracle in my life." That evening, when it started raining again, Alex stepped out onto the porch. Raindrops fell on the old boards. The air smelled of earth and apples. From the house came laughter, Anna's and Hope's. He lifted his face to the sky and whispered, "Thank you, rain, for not letting her walk past that night." He stood there, soaking through, but didn't move, because now he knew. Sometimes, to find happiness, you just have to open the door. And that night, as thunder rolled over the village and the house filled with warmth and light, it felt as if life itself smiled quietly, because even the loneliest farmer can find a home under the rain.